Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last QHHT Hypnosis session. Today, we'll be actually talking about a dream that I had back in February that tells us a little bit about what is going on behind the scenes. In fact, this dream was very much encompassing everything we've gone through up to date and what we can expect. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. As usual, I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking to my practitioner who's asking me the questions I prepared for the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking on myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. Before I move forward, I would like to ask you to please subscribe, like, and comment on this video. It always makes me very happy to see your comments. It does feel a little bit less lonesome to do this kind of work. So I really appreciate you being there. And I know we have an amazing community. There's just not very many of us anymore here. So it does help to know that we are still connected with people with SSS. All right, Lorrayne. This is a dream Clea had on February 5th, 2023. I will read it in the first person as written. We lived in a city that was very oppressive, like a communist regime. It was crowded and very gray, so some of us left. It wasn't difficult to leave. We just left, even though we had to go through some process, like leaving through an airport or something. We then went to an area in the woods. We were several people there, even though we were a small fraction of the people in the city. But there was still a Chinese-looking woman with a bob who told us what to do. This new place wasn't nearly as oppressive as the city, but we were still not completely free to do whatever we wanted. Then one day, the woman said we had to get on some ships to go to some islands, like on a field trip. It was supposed to be beautiful there. Everyone was going, but you didn't have to go. You could stay behind. One of my friends, a girl who I hung out with a lot, wanted to leave this community altogether and go off on her own, which was allowed. And she was going to leave the following day, which was when we were supposed to take off on the ships. But I had a message that there was going to be an explosion the next day and told her that she should leave today. Neither one of us was happy about her leaving a day early, but she believed me and expedited her departure. She received 2 gifts, and she got them like from the universe, almost magically, as if she was allowed to have 2 weapons in a video game. Then I decided that I didn't want to go on the trip either. I went to take a nap. I slept for an hour, and when I woke up, I saw that Christina and Anna were 2 friends of mine. I saw that Christina and Anna were taking stuff out of the trunk of their car. They were the only people who had a car there because they had gone to IKEA with another friend to pick up some stuff. I was jealous that they had gone without me, but we were friends, and I told myself I had no reason to be jealous since I was sleeping, or I could have gone with them. I was also gifted with a monkey from the universe, meaning that it's like a magical thing that happened. All of a sudden, I get this monkey. Was this my daughter since she was born in the year of the monkey? And I'll pause for you to answer this question. And the 25th said, yes, it is my daughter. And not because the 25th believes in astrology, but because, as you know, dreams will leverage things that you know. And I know my daughter is born in the year of the monkey. She's very funny. So sometimes I call her little monkey. And so when I saw a monkey in the dream, right away I thought, I wonder if this was meant to be my daughter. All right. So and this is Lorrayne who's continuing to read the dream. At any rate, the time arrived for this girl to leave. She got ready, and one of the gifts she had received looked like a missile, something that allowed her to fly. She put it on a platform that looked like the chassis of a car, got on it, and was ready to take off. As she got ready to go, another guy or kid said he wanted to try it and jumped on her back, so they both took off. I was happy for her, except that the way this thing worked was by using the power of nature to fly. So a bunch of branches followed the missile and went through the mechanism on the chassis. I was worried it would break and cause a lot of damage, but I moved to the next scene where I saw the ships ready to take off. My mother was there, and she was also going on the field trip. I went in the water where there was something I had to deal with, something I had to fix to make sure the departure went smoothly. My monkey was magic. And she was helping me by being able to do different things in the water, like changing shapes and stretching out like a flying carpet. End of dream. So Lorrayne's first question is, when is she leaving, this person in a dream? Me. Yeah, so she has already left and Clea let her go. That's what this dream meant in relation to that. She's the one that told her that she was going to stay, and she told her, no, you must leave. And the reason she had to leave in the dream, it came across as there's going to be an explosion. What she meant is that there's going to be stuff happening, and I got to take care of that. So Clea has to take care of that, and she didn't want this person in the way. Not in the way because she was going to slow her down, but because she couldn't focus. Basically, Clea is preparing for takedown now. And so she wanted her to go and be happy, basically. Lorrayne, thank you. Does this mean that we are leaving soon? And what if we change our minds and end up really being here by ourselves for much longer? We are already way too conscious of the fact that everyone else is gone. It's becoming painful to be here. What was the explosion about? And why did I convince my friend to leave? Me. So as far as Claire is concerned right now, she's leaving. We are taking this down. So it is very, very unlikely that she's going to change her mind. Again, anything could happen. But right now, she's preparing. You guys are all preparing. So we're going to go through this dream for you just to give you the dynamic of what has happened and what is going on. So basically, I think some of the references are pretty clear. The communist feeling, the gray feeling of the city, of the overpopulated cities, is a representation of the past, of what we had here. Very oppressive regimes. So while we, and we've mentioned this before, and you're aware of it, we like to think, oh, in China they were enslaved. We were all enslaved. And again, we were enslaved by others. This is how we wanted it. We were enslaved. We had the experience of being enslaved. And so in the dream, the Chinese communist regime is a very clear representation of that. There is no freedom. However, it was that easy really for us to get ourselves, for the ones that wanted to get out of the system, it was easy for us to do it. You had to go through something that looked like an airport in a dream, but really it was your choice and you could remove yourself. And this is what now we have done. Now, everybody else is gone. Again, that's another reason why they were grayed out. They're really all gone. And now we find ourselves in this overtime where there are a handful of us left. And by handful, it's a lot of people still. I mean, we're still a few million people, but it's a small fraction of the number of people who were before. So it's interesting because Claire was thinking it's like the Robin Hood gang, because again, she's seeing this happening in a forest and it's a group of us. They are kind of rebels. We're kind of different. Now, we already know there is no difference. In a dream, she felt like they were different in the sense that they had made a less popular choice. And that's why there are only a handful of us or a few of us compared to the original number, even though there were many still in this forest, enough to have another system set up. So now, what is this other system? Again, this represents the overtime, is what we are doing right now. Many of us are still functioning. We're still doing things. And in fact, there is the system, the shell is still in place, represented by this Chinese-looking woman. Now, she's still giving orders because, again, the shell, the appearance is the same, meaning that there's still somebody telling us what to do. And in reality, as you can see from the dream, people didn't have to go along with what she said. This person in the dream decided to leave. Claire decided not to go. Even when the Chinese woman said, we're going on this trip, you could still go or not go. So it wasn't like we had no choice, no freedom. But in appearance, if somebody were to drop in from the outside, they would say, oh, this woman is in charge. So again, a representation of the shell we have right now. We said many times, the shell is not real. We are keeping it there. We didn't have to listen to this woman. And not only, we didn't have to keep this woman doing that. We could have just said, whatever, we're doing whatever we want. But we wanted it to look this way. It gave us a semblance of order while we're still in this particular transitional situation. Now, the woman said, we're going on this trip. Tomorrow, we're going on this trip. This trip is to New Earth. In fact, Claire was aware that this was a trip that, and we believe it was also in the description of the dream you just read, but if not, we are telling you it was going to be a trip to some tropical islands. So it was going to be a beautiful place. So Claire really is not that she stayed behind because she thought something weird is happening. She stayed behind, and we'll explain in a minute why, but it had nothing to do with the fact that it was a bad thing to do. There was nothing bad about going on this trip. In fact, pretty much everybody loved to go on this trip, and it was an exciting thing to do. It was like a vacation. And so again, that represents New Earth, the time when all of us are going to leave. And again, it was going to be the next day in the dream after this girl left. Now, the reason Claire stayed behind is because she's not going to New Earth directly. She has other work to do. In the dream, she represents the 12,000. We already know the 12,000 are going to be the last to leave. We already know this. We said it from the beginning because we do have to wrap this up. It's not just a matter of us leaving. We also have to take this planet down. And while it is immediate, it is instantaneous, it's not a process like we think of in terms of 3D, like we're here with a little, with a little pick, trying to pick it down piece by piece, where it's going to take a long time. But it's still work that has to be done, and it is going to be done by the 12,000. So she's staying behind to take care of that. In fact, the next day, when they are leaving, when they're already in the ships and they're pulling out, she's jumping in the water because something is happening. And what is happening is that basically this is referring to the fact that we're taking this down. So we've got to smooth this out. We've got to finish up what we have to do. Now, the part about Clea going to look for her friends, and she was referring to Anna and Christina, she goes to take a nap, and then she sees them come with a car full of stuff from IKEA, etc., etc. She's feeling left out, but then she understands, no, it was my choice because they would have told me to go with them had I been awake. So they really didn't do anything wrong. We think this is pretty obvious now. This is the life review. Claire is looking at what is happening. And again, her friends represent the NPCs, the people, the loved ones, the friends and family that have gone already. They've been gone for a while. And Claire is feeling what we mean by life review. Claire is feeling and has been feeling like she has had a different life from her friends. But she also realizes it was her choice. She had a different goal here. She had a different function here. And because of this function, she had to make certain choices. And not that she had to, because none of us have to do anything, but because she wanted to achieve a certain goal. And therefore she did. She aligned. She did the thing she had to do to achieve that goal. And so that's the part about that, including the part about her mom going on the trip as well. Her mother will go to New Earth, we already said, just not right now. But eventually she will go to New Earth in the next 100 years or so. And so all these pieces are coming together. Really, this dream was not only brought in to show what's happening here and what is going to happen, which you guys are already aware of because we've been speaking about how this would work out in reality, step by step, pretty much. We told you what would happen, but also because what is showing to Clea is everything we have done here, including, for example, the life reviews, what has happened in terms of saying goodbye to our friends, in terms of some of the feelings we have had at higher self level, which have become very consciously top of mind to Clea over the last few weeks, where she's realized sometimes she looks back in regret and says, I would have loved to have a normal 3D life where I had fun. Like she used to have fun before what she calls her dark night of the soul. And I could have been with my friends. And instead, I was always doing all kinds of things, always pulling myself out, all of a sudden making these 180-degree changes in my life. And she understands why. But even yesterday, she was thinking, this has been tough. It's been tough because right now I could be doing, I could be focusing on real estate. I could be focusing on other things. Instead, here we are. This is my reality now. And while obviously there is a reason for this, and it's not a negative reality necessarily, we call it midlife crisis here when we think of it just from a 3D perspective. But it's not that. It's the fact that you do look back on your life and you realize I was in alignment with something. I was going towards something. But when we look back, we say, wow, wouldn't it have been easier? Because of course we don't know. We didn't take that road, so we really don't know, right? So we like to think, wouldn't it have been easier had I taken that other road? Why did I choose to align with this? And we know that all of you have done this, including you, Lorrayne, when you say, had I known all of this, maybe I would have gone to a 3D chamber. And we said from the beginning, that would have been a perfectly acceptable and fine solution for everybody. The people going to 3D chambers are enjoying themselves. And that's what we're talking about. So this dream really brought up a lot of the themes, showed Clea a lot of the themes that we've been dealing with, which again is part of the integration. She's still, right now specifically, she's integrating the fact that she has lost all her friends because her friends are all gone, just like most of our friends are gone. There's really only a few of us left at this point on this planet. And the fact that she wishes they weren't gone and she has had a different life where she could have gone with them. But we have made different choices and we don't regret the choices. We will be so enthusiastic, so happy on New Earth. We can't even explain to you, you will never regret. However, because we do have our human emotions, first, we're not there yet. And secondly, so we're here and we see that we're by ourselves, so that's unpleasant. But we're also thinking, wow, that solution really did sound appealing as well. Why did I not take it? It would have been easier. It would have been done. So that's what the dream was referring to. So we hope we covered everything in this dream. The explosion itself was not about any actual physical explosion. It was about the fact that an event would happen, something would happen. And basically that was the takedown. So in the dream, the next day from that girl leaving, the takedown was going to happen. In reality, that's not the case, but the explosion, the event is around the corner. That's why Clea decided it was okay if her friend wanted to leave. But also because what we are going to be seeing, while it's positive, like the recall, is going to become very emotional for the NPCs. While the recall is a good thing, it is going to cause a lot of shifting for a lot of people. So it's not necessarily going to be pleasant from a shell perspective, from a 3D perspective. We're not going to be here to see the whole domino effect, as we said, but we are going to see enough of it. We're going to see that people will freak out a bit. And Claire didn't want this to become too emotional for her friend. Lorrayne. Yeah, it seems like some dominoes are already falling and it is getting really weird out there. I know we're creating it, but there are weird things. And she was laughing, the 25th was laughing too. Me, yes, one thing we meant to say is that, yes, her daughter is like a little genie in the bottle kind of person. And they were laughing. And she's a source of joy to Clea. And that's why she was showing up in a dream. So Clea doesn't need to let herself fall into a state of longing, melancholy, and sadness because one, she's not alone, even after everybody leaves. And again, her daughter is not a light worker, so she's going to go to New Earth directly. But in the dream, she was keeping her company. No matter how you interpret this, her daughter is a comfort to Clea. But even when she leaves, the 12,000 are going to be here. So it's not going to be Clea by herself. And we do want to express this because it's going to be true for all the 12,000. They're going to feel the second that they start feeling into the takedown, because again, it's coming up and it's going to be real. We're going to go through it with our heads, with our brains, our emotions of now, with our bodies of now, even though we're taking them down. We're going to feel like, oh my goodness, I'm leaving my body behind. While the others have left and they don't know what happened. They don't know they left their bodies behind. We as humans, we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to look and be like, oh, there's my body. So for us, it's going to be very, very difficult. Again, startling, not scary. Doesn't have to be scary. It won't be scary. This is why you guys have chosen to release this information, to have this information downloaded or distributed and available within the matrix before the takedown. This is why. Because since you're moving on and you're not going to have amnesia, you're not going to forget like the other civilizations that have left the planet after a takedown. They forgot. Just like our brothers and sisters going to 3D chambers, they forgot. They don't know what happened. They didn't have to go through this trauma. Because again, it is traumatic, even though it's a beautiful thing that's going to happen. It is traumatic. It's going to be, again, we say startling. It's going to be disorienting, is the word you used. It's going to be shocking, really, even though it's not a bad thing. It's still going to be shocking. So they didn't have to deal with that. The people going to the Earth and the 12,000 are going to have to deal with this. And so we want you to know, because a lot of you will become, as the time nears, because you're getting close, as the time nears, you're going to become more aware of this, and you might become anxious about it. We just want you to know that you're not going to be alone. You're all going to be doing this together, and so you're going to be just fine. You have been planning for this a long time. There's so many, so many layers to what is happening. It's madness. Lorrayne, thank you. Clay and I already have plans to go skiing in the mountains and swimming in the tropical seas all the same day when we get there. The 25th was laughing. Lorrayne, also, she says, usually in dreams, emotions are amplified, but I had no strong feelings in this dream. Why is this? Is it because everyone is an NPC? Me. No, because she's seeing, so it's correct. She was very matter of fact in the dream. She did not feel desperate that her friend was leaving. She did not feel awful that her friends had gone shopping without her. She didn't feel bad that she wasn't going to go on this trip while everybody else was. She didn't have any strong emotions. Whereas we said that normally in dreams, your emotions are amplified. For the simple reason, not that they're amplified, is that your emotions aren't filtered. Whereas in 3D, we actually filter our emotions. So they're actually muted compared to how we actually feel about them at 3D level. Because at a higher self level, it is different. And in this dream, she was feeling the feelings of the higher self. The higher self takes everything in stride. The higher self sees, decides, strategizes, decides what to do, implements it, and everything is perfectly acceptable. The higher self knows what is going on and doesn't feel bad. So she was sorry to see her friend go because they were spending so much time together, but she understood that she wanted to go. She respected that she wanted to go and even told her, say, hey, if you're going to be leaving, you might as well leave today so I can focus on what I need to do. And of course, in the dream, it was because tomorrow this thing is going to happen. It's not good for you to be here. It really wasn't so much about her as about her friend. You really don't want to be here for the takedown, is what she was saying. And to her friend, it made no difference. She doesn't have to be here for the takedown. And so she said, okay, I'll leave today. So yes, in this case, the emotions were really the emotions of the higher self, because the entire dream represented what's happening at higher self level. Our reality really looks from the higher self level, what we've gone through and what is going to happen, or what we plan to do, we should say, not going to happen, as if this is the future. We want to specify that. Again, there is no future, so we cannot predict. Our higher selves are not predicting anything. Right now, we feel like this. We feel like we're becoming accomplished in what we're doing, and we feel we're going to be completed, and we're getting ready to take off, or even training for the takeoff, as you heard in this dream. But we might decide to stay for whatever other reasons. We won't know until this happens. Either way, this is the work we're doing now behind the scenes. So I wanted to share this with you, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Thank you as always for watching. And if you have any dreams that seem odd to you, or that seem to maybe align with some of the stuff we discussed here, definitely let me know. I'm always interested in hearing what people are experiencing, because all these dreams kind of confirm each other. I've had several people in the community tell me about dreams they've had that very much I was able to interpret just because of what the 25th has said about my dreams. So it's not just me having these dreams or doing this work at dream level. We already know this. We're all kind of doing the same work, and many of us are doing it in the same ways. Some people are doing it not in a conscious manner, and it's still the same work being done. So it's all good, however you might be experiencing this at this time. So thank you again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.